I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're working on our elegant corded pumpkin, and this is a really fun, simple pumpkin to do. And of course I started with my pumpkin from Dollar Tree. Any of the dollar stores should have the foam pumpkins. And on this one, try and make sure that the stem's more in the middle. This is one of those ones that is kind of important. When I first wanted to do this pumpkin, my goal's been to do 20 pumpkins this season. And I wanted to do it with rope, and I kind of wanted more the jute type look. And I went and looked, and rope was really, really expensive, and I couldn't believe how expensive it was. So I went to the hardware part of the store where the rope is, and I found clothesline. And I picked mine up at Walmart, and it was 1/3 of the cost that the rope was. And I really, really like the white of it. And if you didn't like the white, you could dye it, you could spray paint it. There's a bunch of different things that you could do. So just open your mind up and figure out how you want to do it. The first thing we're going to do before we get started, because we're going to wrap it around this, is we're going to start with our stems. And this is paper twist, and I have already unwrapped them. They're about 6-inch pieces. Hobby Lobby carries the paper twist. You could do a natural color, you could do a brown color, whatever you would like. And I'm tearing the tops off so that they are not even on top, and we're going to give it that curly viney look. A running joke is these are Miriam Joy stems this year. And I'm not going to bend the bottom part out because it's going to get covered, so we're just going to put it straight on. And I'm going to hot glue this on. Just put my hot glue around that and cover up that stem as much as possible. You want that nice and covered up. And that goes a little bit further because we're not sticking that bottom part out on the stem. And hold that on there for a few seconds to get that anchored. And then we're going to go ahead and put the other stem going the other direction. Now I did not color my pumpkin. I got it close enough. But if you weren't going to get it close enough, if yours was a little bit looser, you might want to consider painting it white or a cream or an ivory color. That's totally up to you, but none of the color showed up on mine. I bumped it up next to each other close enough that it did not show through. Now once those are done, or you could do this later, just kind of get them out of the way and twist them later so they're not in your way. That's up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and twist them now. Get that viney feel to it. Alright. Kind of tuck that in just a little bit. We've got that one closed. And I'm going to hot glue gun my clothesline rope on. Now the first part it comes unraveled. There's blue in the middle. So I cut this and I hot glue gunned it shut so none of the blue shows. And you can start this a couple of ways. You can put that hot glue right there and put this on, and because it moves around a little bit, if you want to sit there and hold it, you can, but I went ahead and anchored it with a safety pin, and not a safety pin, a straight pin, excuse me, and I put a couple around that first one if you need any of it to hold. And I didn't pin the whole thing. I tried pinning it, but the pins show, so I only used a couple, And I think it's just as well with the glue. So I didn't go ahead and pin the whole thing. But it does help start it, gives it a nice secure base. I'm going to do one last one right there. And then we're just going to go right up next to this other one. And I'm not going to use much glue. It's just a little bit. And we'll have our cameraman zoom in closer here. And I'm going to bump up next to that. So when I do it, I put just a little glue in here right next to that last row. And I just keep on working that, making sure that none of that orange is showing through. And I do have orange showing through right there at the stem. So I'm going to tuck that in and maybe even put one more pin right there just to hold that in. And I'm going to go ahead and continue working all the way around. And like I said, don't use too much glue. And when you work it and you're getting down to here, even push it in to get the different ridges. Push that nice and tight and you'll still get all of those ridges. And that looks really, you know, better, more pumpkin shaped. And then continue. And we're even going to do that when we get down to the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep on going here. And I'll have you join me up at the bottom of the pumpkin. I decided to go ahead and show you what happens when we hit these ridges. And I'm using just that little bit of glue. And I've started to hit these ridges. Make sure you're pushing that rope up and then push down on those ridges, and you can see them start to form already there, nice and tight. Another thing I wanted to point out is if you're getting enough glue that it's squishing through to the top, you're using too much glue. It should not be coming through to the top at all. If you do get some on the top, take your finger and try to remove that so it's not stuck there and doesn't get hard there. Just be careful, don't burn yourself. You know how hot the glue is. And then we're just going to keep on working down. And I'm just pulling my trigger lightly. That's how you get less glue on that. And it is on the high setting, not the low temp, because you don't get as much workable time with the low temp as you do the high temp. And if I haven't burned myself at all on this, and just that real thin sliver of glue, lay that down, bump that up nice and tight. If you're seeing through it to the pumpkin, you're not getting that tight enough. And also think about other things you can do. You could do this with a plastic pumpkin pail. You could do this with a gourd. Now there's a little bit of glue showing through, and I just removed that right off, but I'm really pushing those creases and starting to get those in there nice and tight. So I'm going to continue working on down. I've gone all the way around. We're getting to the end here, and I'm just going to keep going around and around. And I want to mention that I only used one glue stick on the whole thing. So it doesn't take a lot of glue. If you think it's going to be taking a lot, it's not going to be taking as much as you think. Got caught up on the stem there. And on this last little piece, we're going to flip this guy around and stick him in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut him. And see, that's what the insides look like, is that blue filling. So we're going to put some hot glue on that, get that closed up. I'm going to get that nice and sealed. And then let's make sure he fits. And if there's any extra, I need to cut off, or if he just fits down in there. I'm going to cut just a little bit. It's better to have too much to start with than not enough to get that filled in all the way. And on my clothesline, I did 2 pumpkins with that, and I have a little bit left over, and that I did pick up from Walmart. So now I'm going to glue this last section and just tuck that tail in. Nice and neat. Isn't that pretty? We got that all tucked in there. And not too many spider webs from our glue gun. Not too bad at all. So we've got that all done there. The one thing I might not have done is untwisted these all the way up. I might have still glued them on about halfway and then untwisted them later on. But it doesn't matter. They're still going to get kind of, we're twisting them anyway. So I'm going to take my paper twist, another piece, and I'm going to make my leaves out of my paper twist. And you can decide how big, how small you want your leaves. That's up to you. I don't want them too big. I don't want them to overpower the pumpkin. And I've got the stem going this way, so the leaves are going to come this way. And just glue those on. And I like the movement of them too. I don't like them flat. So we've got them kind of going up. That's really nice. I'm going to use my floral wire or craft wire, and we're going to make a little spiral. We're going to give it a pop of gold to make this kind of elegant. And you always hear me tuck your ends in on your wire. If you wrap it too tight, just undo it. And I always kind of pull it up like that. And we're going to put that down in our stem. And then we're going to put some gold berries in there. You could put whatever color you wanted. I just think gold is very classy, very elegant. And I want to keep this piece very elegant. And I think the berries just really complete the piece. And I usually find my berries at Dollar Tree. One thing of those will usually last you for your crafts for that season. It doesn't take very much at all. And there is our elegant cord pumpkin. Wasn't that simple and not that many things to complete it? And stack them on top of different things on your table, glass candle holders, get different heights, put a few of them around. I think those would be really classy and elegant. Make some gold pumpkins and put in between as well. You could spray paint. If you had the hard plastic pumpkins from the Dollar Tree with the plastic coating, spray paint them gold and put them in between. And I think those would be really, really elegant as well. So come on over to our Facebook page at Miriam Joy's Waxy Crafty Corner. There you see all the latest and fun things that we're putting up and doing for you, especially during the holiday season when we try to come up with a lot of new videos and ideas. Subscribe to our YouTube so you'll be the first ones to receive them. Thank you. God bless.